And then the rumor is
March and all
Janelle
that.
Monáe getting considerations and nods for the role for Storm for Black
That'd
Panther
be
2.
cute. That would be very cute.
Nope.
Janelle Monáe would be great for it.
Nope, not at all. She's
Okay,
not
let's
black enough.
get. She's not black enough.
Skin. Not talking about like African American.
She's very
Really?
chocolatey.
I think she's very chocolatey.
Janelle Monáe.
Yeah.
Janelle Monáe, she's darker than I am,
Yeah,
girl.
she's like chocolate.
She's
Who am I
chocolate.
thinking
I
of?
don't know.
Hold on, let me
she's
make
like,
sure.
She's like Kelly
Marvel
Rowland.
girl.
Yeah, she's almost Kelly Rowland Brown.
Yeah, she's like Kelly
Yeah.
Rowland Brown.
Oh, I'm thinking of somebody completely different.
Yo, I was about to
Okay,
say.
I was like,
We was like, girl, what you want?
I was like, okay, we talking about straight from the motherland.
Right.
Okay.
I'm like, that's
I just
ATL
got finished-
shawty right there.
Look, I just got finished reading this whole thing about Kaylani, so I had her in my head.
Oh, I was about to say.
Oh, what
Scratch
happened with Kaylani? I should get my daddy chain. I got this chain that says daddy.
Yeah, daddy.
I'm getting into
Where does it say that at?
Daddy. No, I got a chain. I'll show you. Hold on.
Oh, I thought you were wearing it.
If you call me daddy, you know you getting in the panties. So daddy. Right, to Wanda and Andre.
Ow.
I'm like, come on, Tamar, that's a bop.
Oh no.
Hey tías, es Hugo de Nueva York, cuénteme qué hay para hoy.
Ask your aunties, age gap.
I'm black.
And checking your emotional ties. So get your cups ready for MinoriTea Report.
We got that clap in on right.
Yes.
Come on, choose it for us.
How you ladies doing? I feel like it's been a minute. We recorded earlier last week, so it's like
been a week.
Man,
It's
it's
been
been
a
like
whole
9
week,
days or something.
For us. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. I know, like today I was just like, oh, we got to record today. I was
Right.
like, okay. I was like, I have to figure out how to get back in the rhythm of
Get the
things.
groove
Like,
back,
oh,
I know.
right? I was like, okay.
I know, and I'm on my work computer. Like I don't have my personal computer still in the shop, and I can't get any updates on it. So I'm like,
I legit feel like we are in like the upside down from Stranger Things. Like nothing is the way it's supposed to be. It's like snowing in the summertime. You know, nobody's technology is working. Nobody's where
For
they're
a
supposed
second,
to
I
be
thought you
in
were
the time
literally
zone.
saying it was snowing. And I said, where is it snowing?
Oh no.
It went over my head. I was like, what? Okay.
So we must clearly be out of sync.
Seriously.
That's what we're saying.
right.
5, 6, 7, 8.
And hello, community. Hopefully you're all doing well on this Monday or whatever day you listen to it. And if you're watching on YouTube, remember we're on YouTube now. So subscribe, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button, hit the like button, tell your friends, tell your family to check us out. It's a black-owned business. Come on now.
Thank you.
So support us.
Support,
Facts.
share, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your
And take
wives.
none but 30 seconds. Just
Huh.
literally just like and share. You don't even got to say nothing. You
So
can
no,
just
but if you
literally
want to,
just
if you want to
share.
review, you could do that too.
That would be
We
cute.
Leave us a
appreciate that.
5-star review on Apple. Thanks.
Okay,
would
we
be
ain't
cute.
asking for your money.
Right. Yeah.
You know, just,
Not yet.
Look.
But
I
yes,
got a
please
good idea
subscribe.
for a T-shirt. I forgot to tell you guys before we got started, but I'll tell you afterwards.
Okay.
It'll be real cute.
Now you're
And
going to have
then
the community being like, what's this t-shirt now?
I know.
Well,
Hey.
maybe if you like and subscribe, you would find out.
That part. That part.
This energy is what you're getting today out of this episode, community.
Ooh, okay. Ooh.
So
I'm
is.
going to have to put my hat backwards today.
Right.
It's just
All right,
one
Okay,
of
muscles
those
got
days.
the muscles out. Okay,
Oh
now I
yeah,
see your arms.
she been going back to the gym a
Ow.
little bit, you know.
Okay,
and
now.
she been hitting it a little bit. I ain't even gonna lie.
Ooh, the arms out. Yes, flex on
Nah,
them.
if only
Flex
this,
on
if,
them.
look, if only that stomach can go away, you know, she'd be good.
Hey, a lot of gays like the little belly, you know, a little Buddha belly. Ow.
I can't diet. Like I said before, I'm not a dieting person. You know,
Mm-mm.
I love to eat. I love carbs. When I want to, I'm not a snacker, but when I want to eat food, I don't want to have my restrictions. I only like a handful of things to begin with. Only a handful of vegetables to begin with. So when it's time to eat, let a girl eat. That's all.
What's your favorite vegetable? What vegetable do you eat?
My favorite vegetable probably would be like, it's a tie between like celery and carrots.
Oh, I like celery.
I
don't like carrots though. I like carrots in like soups, but like raw carrots, I don't like raw carrots.
Yeah, I
thought you were going to say potatoes because you cannot turn down a potato.
Oh, I love me a potato. I
know you do. That's why I'm like, when you said celery and carrots, I'm like, what planet is
celery and carrots? Right, celery and carrots. That's where I'm at. Like whenever you go like the Buffalo Wild Wings or something like that.
What's your favorite food?
And they be like, you want veggies? I'm like, I always want my veggies. I always want my veggies to go with the ranch dip and sauce.
She said, I don't like diets. I don't do diets. What's your favorite food? Celery and carrots.
No, the answer is ranch and celery, okay? Or ranch and carrots. Okay. Priorities.
She forgot to put that asterisk on there.
What's your favorite vegetable, Dewan?
I couldn't even tell you. I love vegetables so much. My favorite vegetable would have to be I would say greens. Okay. I would say greens.
Do you
like collard greens?
Like
collard greens. Yeah, collard greens. I would say that.
I
don't eat them. I don't eat them often enough, but
when you do, you destroy them motherfuckers.
it would have to be between. Yep, it would have to be between greens and black eyed peas.
Okay.
Because I could literally eat.
Black eyed peas a vegetable, or is that like a legume?
It's a legume. It's a legume. Yeah. But I consider anything that's not a fruit a vegetable.
I think mine kind of goes in waves, but it's either going to be probably cauliflower. Like I love baked cauliflower and gets it all crispy and all that. And I love Brussels sprouts. Woo!
I love Brussels sprouts.
Oh, I could eat Brussels sprouts for like every day. Corey gets so mad.
I'm not a Brussels sprout fan. Yeah, I'll saute them or I prefer baking them in the oven.
Yeah,
I like mine a little crispy.
Woo,
yeah,
bitch.
I'll fuck with them then, man. Put some olive oil.
Yes. It's almost like a potato chip in a way, like something that get crispy like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, love them. So I think those are probably my two favorite.
And then also I mess with asparagus too, but that's only because
asparagus. Make your pee stink though.
I actually like the way it make my pee smell. I like that smell for some reason. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Remember when we were talking about the difference between nasty and freaky?
Right there.
Oh, tell me why. Speaking of nasty and freaky, so like community, if you didn't know or if you're just tuning in for the first time, was it last week or 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
We had an Ask Your Aunties question that said, what's the difference between nasty and freaky? And so the person, hey Landon, that sent that Ask Your Aunties question in, they were out this past week or whatever with some friends, and they called me, they FaceTime me, and they're like, Carell, you probably nasty. And I'm like, okay, so how am I nasty and y'all asses ain't nasty? Ooh. And so Landon goes, and hopefully he doesn't mind me just telling all the business. He's like, you know what? You nasty because you be like, oh, sit on my face, nom, 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 and slobber. I was like, okay. So
that is regular talk at church.
Thank you.
Come on now.
He's
hello.
Like, at
hallelujah,
church.
Jesus.
Hallelujah. And then Landon's like, see, for me, freaky is like, getting choked a little bit. I was like, okay. So I was like, so what's the line within choking? Like you like to get choked, but it's like spitting in your mouth while you're getting choked. The nasty. He's like, yes, exactly. I was like, okay, I got it. I don't want to be spitting in my mouth like that, so I ain't nasty like that. But it's just interesting to hear people's different definitions and lines of nasty and freaky from that episode now. But don't choke me. We might be fighting.
I'm all about the mood. So
that is true.
If the mood calls for a little choking.
Yeah, trick.
Yes, Daddy. Yes, Daddy.
If you gotta pass out, just
She said, I'm going limb.
What you gonna do?
She said, I want to see the light, Caroline. I want to see the light a little bit.
Exactly. I mean, truthfully, it depends on the mood.
That's true. I can never say never. That is true.
Yeah, we were doing so good. We started talking about vegetables, and then Well, right back into brand, just very on brand right now.
Listen, it doesn't take us long to cycle. We might have been out of sync at the very beginning, but we synced right back up.
We tried, y'all. We tried.
Hey, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's been funny. Like, obviously, with all the Black Lives Matter and all the shit and the Karens of the world, it's interesting. This week, someone from college started a group on Facebook of just like early 2000 college people, and started a group, and like it's been cool because it's been a bright spot on social media for me because you know I'll be going in and like just remembering just different like places we used to eat and different shows and this and that, and people I hadn't seen or heard from in forever. And I was just telling Corey, I was like, God, there's just moments that I completely just forgot that people are commenting on. And I'm like, oh shit, that's right, that did happen. Or like someone just posted a picture. Like, so I used to be in a production group on the campus called On the Fly, and they brought different like talent and everything to the campus. And one artist we had, you know, Daniel Tosh, right? So we brought Daniel Tosh before Daniel Tosh was like Daniel Tosh from like Tosh.0 and all that stuff. And someone posted a picture today of us at that show taking a picture with him, and I forgot that I even took a picture with him. And it's like a group of us with him, and he's like extra skinny and everything like that. So I'm like, oh man, I kind of needed this relief on social media because people have been trying it. People have been trying me.
I'm here for it.
And I'm like, you don't pick the wrong person because you know I ain't gonna stop.
Look, y'all saw my post the last couple days on Facebook. A bitch has been letting them Girl, I woke up on the right side of bed every day. Like, here we go.
The right one.
One lady said, and I feel bad because I used to work with her, and I actually truly do like her. But she a couple things the last few days. She's like, she sent me a DM. She's like, Carell, do you think I'm racist? And I'm like, and I go, and I don't think she was ready for this response. I was like, no, but I definitely think you got some blind spots. And she's like, don't we all have blind spots? And I was like, absolutely. But here's the difference between you and some others. Some others are willing to admit they have blind spots and grow and learn from it. And others buckle in on these blind spots, pretending it is not there. And she got quiet. So then the next day, or it might have been today, I posted something out there about just defunding the police, how it's just weird that people get so up in arms about defunding the police, but they were never up in arms about defunding education, which is so key. And so her response to that was, well, it ain't a third grader that's answering the 911 call. And so, of course, I had I had to go back in again on her, and then people start chiming in. But I'm like, why? Like, why? Especially with people, like, again, I think I said this on an episode, like, especially on Facebook, it's supposed to be more friends and acquaintances and people you actually kind of know in quote-unquote real life, whatever that means. Why would you want to try the people that you, at least at some point in your life, associated with and, like, went to dinners with? And, you know, like, it's just so bizarre sometimes that...
It's easier for a person to justify and judge and point fingers and gaslight your beliefs than for them to look inside themselves and realize that I'm fucked up.
You know? And it's just and I hope they like point shit out that I don't know, and I take it, I educate myself, I like it, but then it's just like some people just, like you said, just gaslight the shit out of you. I'm like, come on, I ain't the one, because I will be going all the way in and educating yourself.
And I realized this week too, like, there also, like, there's those that gaslight, and not just gaslight, but there are those who are just simply ignorant and don't know. And then there are those who just don't give a fuck and just bask in their racist. And like this week, my challenge has been finding the patience to deal with those who are ignorant and don't know, and finding the patience to keep having those conversations. Because I had a friend who messaged me or commented on my post about the blackout day on July 7th, and had the audacity to be like, well, isn't this just going to hurt the said community? And isn't this, like, you know, making it worse for our community, blah, blah, blah. And I said,
this was a black person that said that?
No, this is a white person.
Oh, okay.
It was a white person. And I had to let him know. And I was like,
I can smell the mayonnaise from here.
Right? So I was like, so you mean to tell me that that this is going to hurt the people that's already fucking struggling, like, in this community? And the point of, if you need to go and get something and buy Black, meaning give back to the community that's struggling,
right.
that's a bad thing, right? And then, like some white people had to bring in Christianity. So guess who broke out Matthew 2:12 when it talks about prayer without action? Okay, let them know right then and there. Like he was talking about, I just wish people would pray and just like find peace in their soul. And I was like, no. It says in the Bible that you also need to have action, honey. So you need to make sure that you're doing both. And then he was just like, no, actually, no, that's James. That's James 17. It's Matthew where he brought out do unto others as you want done to yourself. He brought that into there too. And I was like, no, honey, you ain't about to bring the Bible into this because I got all the verses just like you do, honey. All of them. Just to armor up. So what you not going to do is not come here. I was like, you need to check your own privilege because you don't understand at all right now what's going on.
I'd sent my dad, because obviously both my parents are pastors, and I sent this article that NPR did to him just because, like, as pastorly as my dad is, he's also like a chemist and things like that. So like he just has this mind where it's just very scientific, but then he also has like the pastor mind and theology and things like that. And it has a weird way of just breaking stuff down easily for people. That's just like one of his gifts. Like I wish I had it. So I sent the article to him because it's just like I always like to get his thought process on, because the article was talking about how over time, a lot of white Christians have utilized the Bible against the Black community to make them fall in line, quote unquote.
Yep.
And just was interested in his thoughts on that. And he's like, I agree. He's like, honestly, even during the slavery time, they got Black slaves to preach the gospel the way they wanted to make them also hear it from someone that looked like them. And like threaten them that if they didn't do it, they'd get killed or lynched or So I was like, that's interesting that even as someone, as a pastor, that a lot of times people are like, I don't know if they get it or not get it. Just interesting to hear his thoughts on it. Just like, yeah, it is true that like over time people have twisted and manipulated the Bible and what they wanted to do to make our community fall in line. In a weird way, it's been cool to be able to open up those kind of conversations because those are kind of conversations we haven't had before. And to kind of just learn his thought process and better educate myself, honestly, still to this day about stuff.
I'm just not here for the ignorance. I'm not at all. Like if you genuinely just don't understand and you're coming from a place of, like asking the question of why, that's a different conversation. But if you and your indignant self are taking the opportunity to pull away the shine of anything positive that we collectively, not just the Black community, but we have a lot of allies that are out there. Thank y'all. That a lot of allies that are out there, and you are taking time out of your day to criticize the positive things that are happening without showboating the things that you're doing to improve the situation. That's a problem, and you're going to hear from it. There ain't no education that's going to happen. You're going to get attitude. Because I'm not here for it. Not today. It's a wrap. I'm trying to channel my energy in a positive direction. It don't sound like it. But I'm trying. But I think, I've had some really amazing conversations over the last probably 2 weeks that it's really kept me encouraged, and a lot of unprompted conversations, of people, bringing up like race relations and things going on in the country, whatever. And it gratifies the fact that we're having at this point in time a very different conversation, that's not about changing people's minds. It's about changing policies. It's about taking our system and breaking that shit down so that we can build this shit back up the way that it's supposed to be, which is equal for everybody. Right. And if you got a problem with that, listen, I'm not going to sit up here and try to change your mind if you are not in a place to receive it. If you're not, that's fine. You're going to get this cuss out. And then I'm going to keep it moving, and I'm going to block you because I don't have time to have you messing up our vibe.
I have yet to block it. Everybody's going to see what the hell Carell is saying today.
I've blocked a few people.
I haven't blocked a single person.
I had a lady that I used to work with, and she posted something. She posted about Colin Kaepernick and how he sold his $3 million home and then got like a $3.2 million like condo or something like that in New York, and then talked and has the nerve to be like, you want to talk about oppression? Like, you're doing just fine. And I was like, I had this long ass comment that I was ready to send, and I said delete. to not go there because she clearly don't get it. And then right underneath the picture was a comment from someone she knows who was like, "Oh, are you ready to hear the Black national anthem?" And then she says, and I quote, "So does that mean the national anthem right now is going to be white?" That's all I needed to know. I was like, "Oh, you know what?
See, that's when I like go all the way in. Like, I was like, oh, I want to make sure this person see everything I say today.
You know what? Next time somebody does that, we need to treat them. We need to treat them like the Beehive, and just Karen,
Yeah.
all them up.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
Because
actually,
they don't
like
understand
that.
anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna start saying Karen.
Just beat them all the way up.
Yeah. Karen.
Just beat them all the way up.
K to the A to the Karen. Oh, man. We got a new remix. We got a new remix coming right now.
But no, I have not blocked a single person. I like, because I feel like there's certain people I might be literally one of the few, if not the only, diverse thought that they see on their page, you know? And so if I'm gone and block them, they're definitely, and I don't feel like it's my priority to change their mind or anything like that, but I know the algorithm, since they're commenting on it, they're going to see everything that pops up when I type shit, even if I don't address it to them or anyone else. Since you already commented, that means the algorithm's already like, okay, you want to hear from Carell. Well, guess what? If you want to hear from Carell, this is what you're going to see day in and day out, point blank, period. Sorry for it, you know? And if you want to chime in, then you're going to get this, then you're just going to get everything that comes with chiming in on my Facebook.
See, for me, it's not like I stay connected to people, but I will hide you in a minute because I don't want to see your shit. So, you know, like if you're posting stuff that is just downright ignorant and racist and whatever,
right,
I don't need to see that anymore. It's a wrap. And if you start with some of that BS, like on my timeline, it's a double wrap.
Well, you know who's anti-Trump again, or maybe not even again now? Your homeboy K to the A to the NYA. Kanye to the he's
Can I say thank you to?
He did say he was going to run
thank you
for
to Ugo real quick.
Thanks Ugo. Thanks Ugo for bringing us in.
Absolutely.
We need to break up that. Thank you, Ugo, so much for bringing us up because I couldn't deal. You're right. Thank you so much, boo.
Ugo with that native tongue. Yes.
And for anybody out there, we want y'all intros too. All you got to do is just do your recording saying what. Well, he said it in Spanish, but you know, basically, what's brewing today? Where you from? What your name is? And send it to us, and we will put you on the air.
What's your name? What's your sign? What Big say? What's your name? What's your sign? As soon as you buy that wine, I just sneak up from behind and ask you what your interests are. Who you be with? Sorry. Anyway.
Come on, Biggie.
Biggie.
But yeah, man. Kanye, you know, still canceled. And to be honest, I don't buy it for a second. No. I don't buy him being anti-Trump at all. Like, nigga, bye. You a fool.
He's like Trump. He does what helps Kanye.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You know what? He can take that dragon energy and he can shove that up his ass. Him and that dragon energy can be gone.
Yeah. And here's the thing too, what he's trying to do, like, because he got that deal with Gap, he signed one of the hottest, like, up and coming, like, black, she's a black female designers to help him with it. So I'm like, oh, here he is.
Have you seen those shoes though?
I haven't seen his shoes, but like I think he's doing everything but shoes with Gap.
No, honey. Have you seen those shoes online that he's doing?
No.
Girl, look up the Yeezy shoes that he's doing.
There's a new pair of Yeezys that are.
Look at these shoes and I'm pretty sure these are like part of the prototypes or something. They've been released that he's looking to sell. They're awful.
It's like he's gonna still do the Yeezys with Adidas, and then
okay, maybe that's Adidas. Maybe that's Adidas that I'm thinking of.
Yeezy shoes. Oh Lord,
they look awful. These Yeezy shoes are awful.
Okay, let's see here. Oh wait, what
the
are
white foam runners?
Are these what they?
The foam runners?
The foam runners. He's doing those,
and then
he also has he also has like some stilettos that he's doing too. Some women's shoes that he's doing.
Stilettos.
Like
Oh, they must not be called Yeezys then.
Yeah, I don't see the stilettos.
I forget the name of them.
Yeezy
but he's doing
stilettos.
a couple different kind of shoes.
And I mean, I have a pair of Yeezys. They're comfortable as shit. And he's actually responsible for like the cloth shoe trend that's happened the last decade. This is the sad thing about Kanye, and we've said it. He's very talented. He just gets in his own way, and everything he wants is to aid Kanye. And so that's why he liked Trump. Trump has the same energy. He doesn't care what he says or does or anything like that, as long as
these are the little pumps that he's doing.
Can't see them.
I can't really see. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how that goes on your foot.
Good girl. But so they do look like something that Kim K would wear, though.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. And so it's just like, Kanye. Kanye's just doing Kanye. He's just doing Kanye.
I find it interesting. I find it interesting how like there's all this conversation that's happening in like social media about like, oh, well, he's trying to take away, he's going to take away from the Democratic votes and blah, blah, blah. And the reality of it is, just for you jokers, so that ain't nobody black checking for Kanye.
I don't know.
So,
some
are
might.
You really?
Mm-hmm.
You think black people are checking for?
Some
that's not what I see. Like when I look on Twitter, that's not what I see. I see him getting gaslit up.
Yes, no. I mean, there's like some older like Kanye fans that have been from the beginning, and they just won't let him go
on it. Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's going to pull enough people where it's going to make a difference voting wise or anything like that.
It'll be the same number of people that vote in, like people like SpongeBob and Superman. Like it won't. It will be 0.0000001%.
My fear is just the people that don't care for Biden and don't want to vote for Trump either.
Yes, exactly.
So that's the population that scares me. That they really don't give a damn about anything really. They probably haven't really voted before.
Well, the reality of it is that in the majority, and I don't want to say a majority, but the majority of the largest and most critical states like Ohio and Indiana and Texas and a couple other states, he's not even eligible to be on the ballot. So he can be on the ballot as a write-in, but he's not eligible to be put on the ballot.
Right.
So where it's going, so this is like by November, this is going to be a non-event.
I hope so.
I don't know. There are 70 million young folks that will be voting for the first time come November this year.
And they might just think it's fucking funny to vote for Kanye.
And real, exactly. And 70 million is a lot.
18 years old, they don't fully comprehend.
And some of us still at 21, 22 because they just missed, being the legal 18 years of age to vote the last time. So,
all that tells me is, and I don't disagree that there's going to be some people that will throw their votes his way. That's just it would happen whether he would have thrown his hat in the race or not. But I think it just solidifies that we have to keeping our foot on the gas when we talk about voting blue. Like we have to vote our interests at this point. And with the things that are happening with Black Lives Matter and the movement that's going, and more energy being poured into focusing on issues specifically addressed in the Black community, we have to keep that energy on the gas. We have to keep the foot on the gas.
And that energy starts with having those conversations to change a person's mind, because that's where that extra vote comes from.
A community, if you're listening to this podcast and you're thinking of voting for Kanye, please let us know.
So we can punch you in the throat.
Right. 2 chops. Hi-ya! Hi-ya!
Because I'm like, if you are listening to this podcast and you are thinking about voting for him,
you got the wrong podcast.
Right?
You got the wrong bitch.
Right.
Bitch.
Go over there to Candace Owens or something.
Right. It's like I don't know what you've been listening to the last 74 episodes.
Not part of the community.
I don't know what you've been doing.
Right. It's like, I don't know where they do that at.
Look, we're not here to tell me something.
That was so ridiculous. His O-ring fell down.
Right.
Bitch, okay, for real. For real.
Lord Jesus. But
okay, can we get off this topic?
Yes, we can.
It's making my booty hurt.
Making my booty hole hurt. Do we want to go into Ask Your Aunties? I guess we 30 minutes in. Might as well go and try it.
Yeah, we can do that. Okay.
All right, y'all. Come on. Okay, community. I want you to loosen up. This is your moment to get your little twerk in, get your little shoulder action in, shimmy your titties a little bit. And what time is it? Ask your
auntie.
Hit the book. Oh man! All right, let's see here. I
don't have it up. Do you have it up?
I had it. Let's see here. I'm on this work computer. Okay, here we go.
I have it. Oh, go for it.
Oh, you want to go?
Sure. This question is from Rashad. Hey, boo.
Hey, girl.
It says, I recently started seeing someone that really gets me.
Ooh.
The only problem is he's 10 years younger than me. Ordinarily, that wouldn't be a problem, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm being too concerned with the optics of dating someone much younger, or if the life experience difference should be a concern. The guy is mature, career-driven, thoughtful, engaging, and is doing all the right things. But now that I'm in my 30s, I'm starting to see that my perspective is changing, and my question to the aunties is dating someone in their early 20s a deal breaker when you're 10 years older? Aunties, what you got for them?
I say no. And that's coming from someone that's on a...
no, as in don't do it?
Or as in, it doesn't bother me at all.
Okay.
It wouldn't bother me at all. And that's coming from someone that's in an age gap relationship. I think we put so many stipulations on things, and you might be missing your blessing. Like, it might be literally the best thing for you, you know? And we're so stuck in like, oh, what are the optics? What are people going to say? Do I really want to? Try it out. Like, throw all that away and enjoy yourself. If it works out, amazing. If it doesn't, okay, you learn now that, okay, maybe that's the age group that doesn't work for you right now. But it seems like it's hitting on everything you like. He's mature. He gets you. Like, that's half the battle in relationships, you know? And it sounds like you're enjoying to be around him. He's career driven. I mean, just simply because he's in his early 20s, go ahead, boo, have you some fun. Shit. So, yeah, I don't know. I just feel overall, sometimes we just get more into the optics of what everyone else is thinking about it more than you enjoying the moment for yourself. You know, if you truly think it's going to be a problem for you, if you're never going to get around it or like away from it, I would say tell him that now and squash it now. Don't let it be like 2 years from now and then you break his heart and you break your own heart and it's messy and stuff. But I say no. Nobody's looking. And here's the thing now. Nobody really checking for nobody else's shit. We're trying to just survive day to day. We ain't looking at you, boo. We happy for you, girl. If you post some pictures on Facebook and Instagram, we're going to say, hey, girl, that's a cute pic. But after that, like, everyone's literally dealing with their own day to day and trying to make sure their own relationships are working than worrying about your age gap. So I think that's kind of a self thing, thinking that we're like, oh, he's 10 years younger. So I ain't checking for it. I think it's enjoy yourself, girl.
What do you think?
Well, it's 2020 and Rona has fucked up everybody's plans and it's forced people to get their shit together, especially when it comes to just like how people are thoughtful with their own health, and other people's health, and then also with how the world is going with finally the attention of Black Lives Matters, etc. Like, this year has been giving everyone the opportunity to show their true colors, no matter the actual age that they are. And if their colors are ugly as fuck, like that doo-doo brown, be done. Be done, you know? But if you seeing that a person, no matter the age at this point, is actually showing you and giving you what you need and what you value in a relationship, I think that's really the only thing that matters. It's very easy to, and I know that I do this too, where I did when I was single. But like, dude, like, oh, if I was 20, like, where was I at 21? And I was projecting where I was at 21 on other people, which was a hot ass mess. So for there, I was writing out people that was 21. I was like, I ain't dealing with it. But I also have to remember that my experience is different than others. And it's very natural and human to just self-project like that, because that's the only thing that you know as far as that age. But it may not be what that person may know at that age. They could be blessed and be more advanced than you are. And that's part of just growth, and that's just part of you know, the world growing as time goes on. I would hope that the younger generation, the younger people after me, would be a little bit more wiser than I am, because I don't want to have to be that old person being like, well, back in my day, blah 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 blah. Like, I just hope that they got the education and they know already versus having to take them to school again, because I'm not into that teacher student shit. That ain't for me. No ma'am, no ham, no turkey, no thank you, I'm good.
No dressing, no
college.
college.
No dressing, okay. You know. So I would honestly kind of like what Carell was saying, that, you know, the hard part of dating is literally just finding someone that's just compatible to you on everything else. Like, don't get caught up in age. I mean, I'd rather be with someone who understands me on a mental, physical, and emotional level, has the same type of morals, goals, and ambition than I am. The last thing that I'm caring about is someone's age. I would care about their health way before I care about their age. Because, I mean, when it's your time, it's your time. So that's just
age
me.
Ain't not enough. Don't be an R. Kelly, though, but...
don't. But I will say this. Has to be able to buy their own goddamn drink.
That part.
Period. Has to be able to buy their own
We ain't
drink.
trying to find no fake IDs for you.
that part. I'm not about it.
Ain't got time for that. I agree with that.
Got to be out of college. That's another thing too.
Be able to afford your own drink.
Okay, because I'm not nobody's sugar daddy. And another thing for me personally,
even though you got that daddy necklace on.
Right, I got my daddy necklace on. And then on top of that, not a deal breaker, but you got to be able to rent your own car. You need to be able to get up and go at a moment's notice. You got to be able to handle.
So you need like 25 and above.
25 and above.
You don't need that surcharge.
Listen, that list started out as a shopping list, and now it's going into a laundry list.
No, because here's the thing.
And one more thing.
Because the truth is, there are just certain things you can and can't do at certain ages. You know what I'm saying? And I don't have time to be living or doing for someone else because they can't, because of their age. I'm not talking about finances. You don't have to be making money. You don't have to be able to afford your own, because part of being in a relationship is a partnership and doing for your others, So I have no problem 60, 40, 70, 30, 50, 50, whatever. But you have to be able to bring something to the table. Right. And I need you to be able to bring as much as you can to the table. And at certain ages, you can't do certain things. That's just how it works in this country. So that's my limits.
What you think of DeJuan?
Well, he and I already had this conversation, so I won't rehash it. I agree with what a lot of you guys said.
We don't know what you said.
Right, okay, look.
I agree with what a lot of you guys said. I think more importantly, though, I commend him and anyone else who's asking this question, because I think it goes beyond optics. As particularly as gay men, as we're starting to move from one decade to the next, and a lot of people are moving from their 20s into their 30s, and they're finding that at one point they used to be the youngest person in their friendship group, and now they're one of the oldest people in their friendship group. And I think the other thing is right? A lot of people deal with that. And then, it's not just, you're not just dating the one person, you're dating that person and their friends and their family. And you do interact with those people. Don't act shocked.
No, you said dating them. I was like,
well, I don't mean literally, goddamn. But you
got to be crystal clear these days, because how things be.
There might be some people out there like that. But all I'm trying to say is that it's a really important question to ask, because 10 years of a difference when you're in your 30s, in my opinion, is a lot different than 10 years difference when you're in your 40s or when you're in your 50s. So there's certain life experiences that you garner within those formative years of, your 20s. You're doing a hell of a lot of experimenting and exploring and et cetera. There's a lot that you don't know about yourself. And I'm not saying that a person that's in their 30s or 40s and 50s or whatever, they're not going through their own things, but it's important for someone who's evaluating the potential substance of a relationship to ask these kinds of questions. Yeah. Will I have an issue dating someone where I am, within 10 years, 7 years, 5 years of their parents? Will that be an issue for me?
Though? But how do you get past
for you? I'm just saying,
I know questions.
Yeah. How do you get past it though? But I think
I'm curious too,
because that's my relationship. Like I started dating Corey in my 20s, and I think one good thing is you have the conversation, like you say, you bring it up and discuss that and see for yourself can you handle it? If you can, okay, don't bring it up every single time. That I feel like at 20 something going out, things like we've had the conversation, like you said, there's certain growth and things you just kind of want to still do at that age. And I'm thankful for Core for still letting me, even at my age now, sometimes still wanting to go out when he doesn't want to as much, and kind of been there, done there. But it still works because he allows me to do that. He's not trying to change that aspect of me, and I'm not trying to change the aspect of him wanting to stay home and do more dinner parties. And you find ways to kind of compromise that, especially like more so when I was younger.
Yeah. How did you ever at any point when you and Corey started dating, like, because of the age gap, did you ever feel some kind of way, like introducing them to your friends or introducing them to your family, but like, hey, this is the person that I am dating and I love, sort of like that? Like, did that ever cross your mind?
Not because of the age, mate. No. Like, for me, like, I was still like coming out and things like that. So like, it's just like, that was probably even bigger for me, of everyone knowing, oh yes, this isn't just a phase. No, Corel really is gay kind of thing. More than oh, here's my partner that's 14 years older than I am. So the age has never, at least for me, been anything I've thought of. Like, it's never been anything my parents have ever talked about. Like, they never complain about getting older. So throughout my entire life, age has never been anything. And it's not like I went and sought out to try to find someone older than me, but like, it sounds like in this situation, I found someone that was compatible with me on a lot of different areas. And if I was so hung up on the age part, because like, for our situation, almost on the reverse side of Rashad, maybe he's thinking like, man, all your friends are older than me and all this stuff, and like your siblings and that family's way older than me, and they're talking about shit that I don't give a damn, So it kind of goes both ways. Like, we're thinking about the young aspect. He might be thinking like, shit, you're 30, mid-30s, and But I think if we let that get in the way, you might be missing out on something that's could completely work out. And luckily for my aspect, it worked out. Were there bumps along the road? Sure. Were there times where I wanted him to go out and he didn't feel like going out, and we were upset about it, and he's like, fine, you go and I stay? And sure. But that's going to be any relationship. There's going to be bumps in any relationship, even if you were born on the same damn day. Just don't try to force this to be a problem if currently it isn't. And if you find it that, like, if it continues to eat at you, then clearly it's an issue for you that you need to address and be like, it's not going to work for me.
And that's just it. Yeah, because that's why I asked the question. Yeah, because that's why I asked the question, because I know, like, there have been times when I did, like, I remember being younger in my 20s, and I was dating someone that was 14 years older than me. Okay. My parents had me when they were 18. So he was just a couple years shy of my parents' age.
Right.
And then it just hit me one day. I was like, oh my God, like, this man could be like a sibling to my parents. Yeah. And it honestly, it made me feel some kind of way. And honestly, it just kind of turned me off to the idea of being with someone that much older than myself, because of the category that I put my parents at their age that they are at. Like, for me, my parents' age is this age of wisdom, respect, etc. That's just kind of like covenant, where you go for like this other type of comfort that's not in a romantic or sexual kind of way. Right. And so when I was dating, back in my 20s, and I was finding people, and I tend to shy away from, older men, because especially when they were closer to my parents' age, because that's where that was the kind of same age and demographic and area that my parents housed in my life. And I just couldn't I couldn't separate the two. Right. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that way. And that's why I asked that question. Like, how do you get over that? And I think, like you said at the end, it's a you problem. I think the individual has to learn to just be comfortable within themselves. So then that way they're comfortable in the relationship that, that they're going to be in. And also just understanding the fact that it's okay if you're just not into dating people that much older than you, and I think that's another point of the question that I wanted to, speak on too. Like, it's all right also just not to simply be into someone that's 10 years younger than you. Like, you just don't have no desire to be with someone who just maybe not have the life experience, or or simply just being the same age or being on the planet as long as you. Because that does bring a whole different kind of dynamics to a relationship too. Kind of the age, like what you were saying in your relationship, Corel, where
and that there's going to be bumps along the way too. Like there's going to be times where you do not feel like hanging out with 21-year-olds or whatever how old he is, going to Progress to 3, 4, 5 in the morning. There's just it is what, because you've been there, done that. You've done that enough times where you don't have to do it so often. But I think what a lot of people do is let that kind of eat away at you instead of having the conversation saying, hey, I've been there, done. Like Corey told me up front, he's like, I've been there, done that. I lived in New York for like 16 years. So there ain't nothing here in Chicago that is going to impress me more than what I saw in New York. And that was that. That was that. And he was just like, if you want to go out, go out. I get it, kind of thing. And then there was times where I was like, I'd prefer to go out with him. Okay, he wants to have a dinner party. Let's chill out, kind of thing. So I think having that conversation and being honestly that frank, and Corey's just that frank. That's just the way he is.
No.
Right? But it's just having those dialogues and knowing that just naturally sometimes you're going to be on two completely different pages. Even now, as I've gotten older, there's certain times that just due to age and what we've been through, we're on two different pages. We talk about it, see how we could get a little closer onto the same page and keep it moving.
Yeah. I think the consensus pretty much is don't focus on the age, focus on what it is that you want in a relationship.
Absolutely.
And let that be the foundation and guide your choice as far as whether or not you date someone 10 years younger than you, 10 years older than you, 5 years and up or down, whatever. Just focus on what it is that you want out of a relationship.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, that's really what matters, not the age.
Yeah.
So that was a good question.
DeJuan's extra quiet. I feel like he knows some extra info. No. he got that little look like.
Right. I feel like DeJuan done seen an Instagram of this person. Right. Rashad done shared some extra tea that we in the community.
But Rashad, let us know how it goes, though.
Yeah. The only thing that I will share is I think people that are gay men that are in their 30s, their early 30s, they're grappling with this very same question because the opportunity for you to date someone 10 years younger for you is first starting to appear because you're not dating 16-year-olds, hopefully. You know what I mean? So
I said, don't R. Kelly it, please.
But not to detract from, the reality is it's a station in life question.
Yeah.
It's, oh shit, I'm now entering a new phase of my life. I'm not the youngest one in my group anymore, but I'm still attracted to people who, don't look, like they're, just graduating high school, they got their shit together, whatever, and it wasn't until, I asked the question like, oh, damn, you're, 15 years younger than me, 10 years younger than me, whatever. And then does it make sense for me to even pursue that? I think that's a very valid question for you to ask yourself and for you to determine on your own. And if, external biases are getting in your way of pursuing the opportunity of somebody that you're vibing with, I think that's a problem, but if there are legitimate things that you're seeing in the context of getting to know someone, and this is just like dating, this isn't like in a relationship. This is like, I'm getting to know them, we're hanging out, I'm liking the vibe or whatever. Do I pursue this? Right. Do I even put any more energy into this, knowing that there is this difference in experience and blah 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 blah. They might have only had sex with like 2 people in their lives and one of those was a woman, whereas I may have like there's a
had more than 26.
Caught it.
Well, it's no shade to you, it's probably more shade to us.
Right, I know. We're over here filling up stadiums.
Ooh, girl.
Our million man marches.
Not stadium.
Like Jay said, we in Stadium Sue.
But like that's a legit thing to ask yourself. Like even when you think about like just sexual history, when if you are a much older person or a much more promiscuous person and having that, like there's a lot of dynamics that go into it that's beyond just the relationship dynamic that's worth exploring. So I love the question.
If that's the only thing that's like holding you up, I would say go for it, honestly.
But I think. Damn. See, now I feel like I'm changing my answer. God damn. Because now it just hit me too, though. Like, as you get older, you start to experience more things. And I feel like a younger person may not have experienced enough. Some people have, some people haven't. But I don't know. I just feel like I would always have that that question in the back of my head, like, what if they didn't get to, go to orgies, before they hit 22, or like, or be at the bottom of Jackhammer in the dark or something like that, like a Jackhammer is though, and what happens at the bottom of Jackhammer? Look,
True.
Okay.
True.
But like I just think there are certain things that we experience in our 20s. Like for me, what I've been learning and experiencing being in my early 30s, 32, that I find myself thinking about, like, how do I make up for some of the time that I wasted having to go through certain experiences that wasted time in my 20s, but although I may say that it wasted time in my 20s, I still learned something from it. And I wouldn't have known that then until I've actually gone through that, which makes me who I am today. And I feel like if you have not gone through those things yet, there are just certain things in relationships that you just don't understand until you actually have, the experience under your belt to bring that to the table.
I feel like it's just more fear-based, though. It's just like, it's a lot of ifs, like in that statement you just said. You don't even know until you even try it with this 20-year-old, You don't know what you don't know even about yourself, even in your 30s, because you probably haven't dated an early 20-year-old at this stage of your life. So it's just like, even as a 30-something-year-old, there's a lot of ifs for Rashad as well. So there's, and so I just feel like we're putting so much out there. Try it. If it doesn't work, you learn. That's
Carell's the type that, like, you dare him to put his tongue on the
wire. No, I was never that person. I'm never that person.
It's like, just try it. You might like it.
Right.
Nope.
I don't know.
Never that person.
I'm a true Capricorn.
I was never that. I'm still not that person. Like, I'm not that person.
and that's why, I'm all about the calculated risk. Like, I'm just not going to do nothing, because time is precious. It's the most precious thing that we have as a possession. And
but so literally, he listed 10 things that he loved about this human being, and the only thing he mentioned that is a stickler for him is one thing. So that's the calculated risk for me. Just like, okay, if 90% of this human being right now I'm enjoying, and the only thing that I'm like stuck on is the optics of the age part. That's a weird thing to just turn down, because you ain't get you a 30-something-year-old and he ain't got shit else.
But you can have a person that's really good, but like to slap a bitch every now and then, and that's one thing that can outweigh a whole lot of other things. Or it could be exactly the other way.
But then that in that moment, that's it. So I just feel like he does. I feel like the way at least the question's posed, it almost sounds like he's not quite sure if that's an issue for him, because he says his perspective is changing.
I'm just saying, if it listen to your gut feeling though, because that's the thing. Like,
yes, that's true.
Don't I'm also a fan of not talking your gut will tell you some things, and if you can talk yourself out of listening to your gut, and that's when you end up wasting time. If you feel that this is something that your spirit is like, I just don't know, that's saying something. Because the truth of the fact is, you're going to act right for the right person. When you want to be with someone and you want to make something work, everyone knows you're going to do everything that you can in your power to make it work. Because the easier thing to do is to leave and run and hit the door. If you feeling like you need to stay, then stay. But if you feeling like you need to go, go. But listen to that gut feeling.
Yeah, because this is like, if I'm being too concerned with the optics of dating someone much younger, or if the life experience, in quotes, different should is the imperative word to me, be a concern. So to me, right now it's not a concern, but now the more he's thinking about it, he's like, oh wait, should it be a concern?
Yeah,
if it wasn't a concern,
optics and life experience are two big things. Life experience and optics are two very big things, because optics, it goes into the whole persona, how people see you and your relationship, and whereas negative and right, but it's a very common thing in relationships.
Perception is 90% of the law.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It doesn't have to, but I don't think it has to be. It could be the law for everyone else. The perception. It doesn't have to be ingrained into you. As I guess. If
depending on how you feel about your character, because some people hold their character to such a high.
Girl, don't go there. But my character, I hold my character high.
No. I'm not saying no. Hold on, pause. Let me finish my sentence.
Because I'm like,
I was saying, some people hold their characters to a high level where it literally dictates everything that they do. There's a difference. Some people hold it so high where
my character? I guess I'm lost on that statement.
Because some people would be like, if someone thinks sees me as a negative person for doing this, even though it's the right thing to do, they won't do it. Even though it's the right thing to do. Like, people get so concerned.
Or is that more like...
Because people, well, again, the perception of a person's character matters. That's what people see them as. You can have your character as far as how you see you as, but then there's the perception.
But I guess,
of
like,
how other
my
people
thing is,
see
like,
you.
people say before you go date, before Corey and I ever existed, I would think my character, people knew, okay, Carell's a strong person. He thinks things out, strong character. That since Carell has had strong character all the way up until he met this human being, that the optics of this perception of age does not mean now Carell no longer has character, or whomever it is my point.
It's less about their character, and it's more about what's a personal value of yours. So if you value the perception of other people, more,
doesn't have to be an or can it be an and thing in this situation where, like, yes, you take into consideration.
You're talking about the character. Are you a good person or a bad person? That's
no,
not
that's just one character trait.
He's talking about people who place significant value on the opinions of other people, period. And that's how they're wired. That's what he's talking about. Yeah. It's not about how you're wired. It's about how they're wired. And people are wired.
I understand that.
So that's what he's talking about. You guys are talking about two totally different things.
Yes.
So if you were a person that cared a lot about what other people think about you, that is a very valid question for you to understand and grapple with.
Yes, right. Absolutely.
If you don't care what other people think about you, regardless of the content of your character, it wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah,
okay.
and that's
100% on.
Yeah,
but
and that's why I asked, because because up until like a few years ago, I was one of those people that I cared about how people saw me.
Right.
Like, if I was with someone, whether it's a friend, a lover, or just a friend of a friend, me associating myself with them, I cared about what other people thought. And a little part of me today still cares about that.
Yeah, same here.
But
for sure.
But that's a huge thing in dating. That's why it's important when people be like, "Oh, I want to bring you around my friends," and "Oh, I hope my friends like you," because people care what they think of you.
Right.
Yeah, like, so that's the whole point. Like, so that's why someone would care so much about this, is because of that, and that's why I asked that question. And that's why I kind of changing my mind, because I'm like, if it's eating at you so much, you're not ready.
But that's the thing. That's why I kept on saying these key words. I don't think it's eating at him. I think he's thinking, oh, it should. And maybe it is. Maybe it's just the way it's worded. But the key word, like, should be concerned, means, oh, I wasn't concerned. And somebody might have said some shit now. And, oh, was I supposed to be concerned? Damn, maybe I should be concerned. So, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, if you use the word should be, that means it's not a concern of yours. You're letting someone else dictate it now.
No, I mean, it should doesn't have to mean someone else is doing something. Should means that they're weighing the options. It doesn't take someone else to weigh the options. Pros and cons can be done by yourself or with other people. And I think that's what the should is really lying is. He sees, value and the potential of this relationship,
right,
and it's getting potentially serious. And so he's asking the right questions. Is this something that I should be concerned about with? I don't think it's necessarily someone told him something. I think he might actually care. And
well, my answer is no, man. You shouldn't. It should not, because you might be blocking your blessing. Point blank, period. That's Auntie Carell saying it. I know the other two are looking at me like, oh, whatever, Carell. And my character and all that stuff. But I think, because, like, but I'm just saying, like, I'm a person that cares way too much what people think. And if for the one time...
You just said you didn't care.
I know, exactly.
No, I said he shouldn't care. Well, we're behind the tape. That's okay. We beat this a dead horse. So what's the next topic? Because it's not true. It's not a true statement.
I think at the end of the day, if we're just, to wrap this whole thing up, I think it's it's a very valid question to be asking yourself. And the question is asking to the aunties to get a different perspective. And I think we shared some different perspectives for consideration. Absolutely. And I think this is a really valuable question for anybody, who's entering a new stage of their life, whether it's, they just leveled up in their job or their career or moved into entrepreneurialism and they're dating somebody that's not, not where they are and are, kind of weighing the options. I think it's important for you to understand like what's important to you in a context of a relationship, what's important to you in a context of, the personality and the benefits that person brings into the relationship. And it's important how they treat you. And it's important that you have good, honest, open communication with each other. And, I think it starts with you asking yourself these questions so that you at least start to explore, what's important for you. And then you can have this conversation with them to see, are these things that you guys need to discuss together. So.
Absolutely.
Thanks for asking that question. And if y'all got some questions out there, community, go ahead and send them our way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ask your aunties, or what is it? AYA@MinoriTeaReport.com, or just DM us and we'll put it on our queue of questions. So.
I want to shine a little bit of light onto just Black people doing Black things.
I'm sorry. You took me to church by saying that. I'm sorry. This little light of mine. Yeah, right. This little light of mine. Hey.
That's Sister Mary Clarence.
Okay.
Sister Mary Clarence.
Right.
I was not a showgirl.
Right. Dolores Van Cartier.
Yes.
Is that your real name? No, I just want to shine a light on, Black people doing amazing things. Like there have been some really amazing movements that have kickstarted within the last couple of weeks. And, and hopefully as this airs, we're seeing the fruits of a lot of that labor. First off, last week, there was the Blackout Day that happened on the 8th, which was Wednesday.
The
7th, thank you. The 7th. And, we don't know at this point, as we're recording this on Wednesday, we don't know at this point what the benefit of that. I'm saying that wrong. We don't know what the financial spend was on that day specifically for Black businesses. But for those who don't know, Blackout Day is a movement for Black people to demonstrate their buying power. We know by independent study that the Black community in the United States it's been estimated about $1 trillion of spending power in the United States.
In 2018.
I'm sorry?
In 2018 by the Nielsen report.
By the Nielsen report, yeah. And so, this was a movement that was started to really demonstrate our buying power. And we vote by casting our votes, and we vote by where we spend them coins. And the idea was you don't spend any money at all. You can do that. Or if you have to spend money on that day, then you spend that money on Black-owned businesses. And what I loved about it, outside of the concept, is that it gave rise to the visibility of all the Black businesses, the Black-owned businesses that are out there in the world. They got so much advertising and space and people shouting out, oh, if you want cookies, I know like 5 different places. Or if you want, soap or, clothing or, whatever, professional services. All of these businesses got so much free advertising and got so much more business as a result of this particular initiative. And I'm hopeful and optimistic that this trend will continue, that we'll capitalize on that. And the other thing I wanted to shine out on is there's another movement that started as well 2 weeks ago, and it's called the Black Receipts. And basically what this is an opportunity within a certain period of time for people to, again, invest in Black-owned businesses. And the goal was to spend $3 million within a 15-day period. And within 16 days, they end up spending $5 million. And essentially what happens is if you go online and you buy something in a Black-owned business, or you go into an establishment, you take a photocopy of your receipt, and you upload it into this platform, and then they do the calculation and they validate it to Black-owned business, blah, 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 blah. And the total is $5 million. And again, what this is showing is the power of investing in your own communities and investing in Black communities if you're not part of that community.
Absolutely.
I just want to shout those two things out. I think it's amazing. It's incredible. And I hope that we continue that energy beyond just like these smaller, segments of time.
And I want to I want to read the comment that Leslie left on the post for Blackout Day last week, because I just thought it was well said, and it was just
Mother Leslie,
right, and just leading, and also just leading by example and just speaking the truth. But it says, at Minority Report, every day is Blackout Day for me. We've had about 6 or 7 of these days over the last 15 plus years. They almost always occur after some police I don't know. I'm drunk right now. I can't read this word. But after a police, murder or shooting, we need to think deeper and do our research, study past boycotts, and figure out why collectively keeping our money in our pockets and in our communities always seems to need a push. We need a sustained year-round commitment to buying Black, to spending less money on the principal items and unnecessary items. Malcolm X said the following in 1963: "We have made progress as consumers." He was right then, and unfortunately, his statement is still correct. I appreciate the symbolism in Blackout, but we need to move beyond symbols, and most of the time, we lead by example, not by waiting for a crowd to form. I completely agree. And, that's something that we've been saying, for the past year ourselves too, as well as, just making sure that we are giving back to our own community. It really shouldn't take for a Blackout Day to happen. This should be something that just becomes the norm, because as soon as this becomes the norm, other businesses will start to switch up, and then people will start to care, because the truth of the fact is, money moves people and things. Right. Okay. And if you start putting your money in places that matter more to you versus the places that don't give a damn about you, you're going to start seeing some changes happen in a way that you could never expect. Because the last thing anyone wants is for their pockets to be hurt. That's how we've seen since George Floyd's death, so many companies switching up. And, like the sport teams, like the Redskins, talking about, no longer changing the name of the Redskins to something other. Like, you now see these progressive acts happening. And it's important that we continue to push for this change by doing that, placing our money in the communities where it actually matters, not to the people who don't give a damn about us.
And we're one of the only ethnic communities that does not invest in ourselves. There was a whole movement or a whole documentary that Killer Mike did, where he was talking about the different communities, that have their money cycle within their selves. And I think he said that our money cycles between 3 to 5 days within our community only. Whereas if you look at the Jewish community, it's between 22 to 45 days. And if you look at Asian communities, it's within 30 to 90 days before that money leaves their own community. So the majority of the money that is made, no matter where they work, they are spending it within their own communities. And what I love about these movements is, at least for me, it gave so much visibility to all the businesses that are out there, like the banks and the other things that, now for me, Report. I'm like, and Minority Report. But it now gives, at least for me, the visibility of, okay, you know what? I'm now thinking about, I'm going to move my money from Chase, and I'm going to find, a Black-owned bank. And when I go shopping, for clothes, for whatever, I'm going to start prioritizing these Black-owned businesses instead of giving all my money to Amazon. Yes, I do love to get the 2-day shipping, but if it comes at the cost of the freedom of my people, nope,
What it does is it builds generational wealth is the key of it. It's just like, whether it's your immediate family or whether it's your immediate community or your community at large, it begins to build generational wealth where you can start helping others build generational wealth. Like I know the Chris Rock stand-up's been going viral again, where he's just saying the Walmarts, they're able to make other white people rich because they own Walmart and they're building these massive Walmarts, and then they're letting these executives and everything come to Walmart and then leave Walmart and start other companies, et cetera, et cetera. So that's what it really helps do, is literally build generational wealth where you are helping the next generation expand and continue to grow because you actually have the finances to do so. You're not helping others become rich that continue to oppress your immediate community.
And I also just like to seeing the fact that, like, you know, there are so many people who are starting businesses and finding their passion. Also not have the degrees and all the student loan debt behind them that, you know, so many of us were pushed to have in order to have your dream. You know, understanding that your dream starts with you. Your dream don't start with a piece of paper. It starts with you and your vision and your work ethic and how hard you want to go for it. And also us as a community coming together and supporting each other when we see someone that has a dream that wants to go somewhere and be somebody.
Well, this is one of the reasons why in like the late 70s and early 80s, why there was so much of a push for higher education for everybody and less of a focus on like trades. Because guess what? Because if you take up a trade instead of going to school, what are you likely to do? You're likely to create your own. You're going to be your own plumber. You can be a plumber. You can be a electrician. You can be whatever you work. But you're working with your hands. You've created your own business, and you don't have to be responsible or accountable to anybody else, but driving your own profitability. And by pushing, education is key for a lot of folks, but it's not the only way. And I love that we're starting to see this balance of, yes, you can go through academia if a job requires you to have a certain degree. Most of us that went to college aren't even using the degree that we got. So we spent 30, 40, 60, 80, $100,000, on a degree that we're not even using just so that we could check that one little box that says you have a BA or whatever you got.
Yeah. There's just different avenues, and I'm a big proponent. I always say this: use your gifts. Like, everyone has gifts of things that they're good at naturally. Yes. Doesn't mean you don't need to continue to hone that and mature that and things like that. But everyone has gifts. Tap into it. Everyone has dreams and things that they want to do that you're just scared to do. Tap into it, because literally that's what you're here for. Like, that's what a lot of people kind of get scared. It's just like, no, there's something uniquely you that you're supposed to be here on earth to provide for everyone else, whether it be financially, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it may be. Utilize it. You have the gifts, you have the talent to do so. Yes, continue to educate yourself and hone it, but there's something, and don't be scared of it. Easier said than done, I get.
I think there's also something to be said about visibility. Like, it's important for people to be able to see people doing things. It's important for you to see that there are more options than just, being a, sports star or an entertainer, or just working in a office somewhere. Yep. And if you see somebody who is on their hustle, who has, a mobile car wash, who has a cannabis business, who has a cupcake business, who has their own accounting credit repair company, like, if you see somebody within your sphere that's doing their own thing and you haven't quite figured out what you're good at or whatever, but you're seeing people around you, that does tend to inspire you to really dig deep in yourself to figure out what motivates you, what you get excited about, what you're good at, and how you can turn that into a business. And I would honestly say, have more conversations. If you see somebody doing something, reach out. Because the more that we are talking about what it is that we're doing, even, for those of us that work in corporate America, I spend a lot of time no matter what company I'm with, I spend a lot of time seeking out the Black people in my company. Because, if they're higher than me, if they're in my same level, if they're lower than me in terms of like where they are in their careers or whatever, I want to be that internal ally to say, okay, if you are struggling with something or whatever, and I can help you along, that's what I'm here for. It's all about helping one another. So ask somebody.
And I think that's, and I just have one more thing to say is, I think we also need to start within our own community, especially within the Black community, changing the dialogue as far as what does success mean, because success doesn't necessarily mean that you make millions of dollars. Success doesn't mean that you able to pay for 3 different fucking houses. Success doesn't mean that. Success can mean different for different types of people, and you have to figure out what it is for you and how to attain that for you. And there are different ways to make it happen, but it starts with you and no one else. Because it's
going to be work.
It's going to be work. Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
Work.
But it starts with your dream, you know, and even literally dreaming is work. You know, people think it's just easy to dream. No, like you have to put yourself in a space to actually be able to be thoughtful and think outside of the reality of what our norm is or what your situation may be, you know. So dreaming is a great first step.
And this is what my dad always says. He's like, dream even if you got to dream by yourself, even if the community is not backing you up, even if people don't wait. Like people wait so long and then next thing you know, you're 82 years old and you ain't did nothing, you know?
Absolutely.
So literally like since I was a kid, that's probably been the most consistent message my dad has told us is the dream. He like, even when I go home now, he's like, dream even if you got a dream by yourself, because I think some people literally you're waiting for someone to help you, you're waiting for whatever to be done and it might not ever come. You know, and so it's just like don't let others dictate your dream, like you were saying, Jarrell. It's just like don't let others dictate your dream. Yes, you dream, then yes, seek out people that can help you and back you up, and we got to do better as a community. When we see someone, be like, oh, okay, I see he's dreaming, he is dreaming hard, he's hustling, he's grinding. Let me help him out because I have something that could actually help him out or educate him, whatever. But even if you gotta start that stuff by yourself, start it by your damn self. Get that. You just gotta get that ball rolling. Once that ball gets rolling, you can pick up the stuff you need along the way. You just gotta get it rolling.
What did you say earlier? You said you need more than prayer.
Oh, I said that. Yeah, you need prayer without action. Prayer without action. Absolutely.
Faith without works is dead.
Faith without works. Yep, that's exactly what it says. You know, y'all heard it here first. Community by the age of 40, Auntie Hennessy, aka Jarrell, will have his own business.
There you go.
That is what I have learned, and I will be investing.
Girl, we got one right here. We got one.
No. I'm talking about. No. I'm talking about my own that gives back into the community. Yep. I already have 2 business plans. I'm picking out which one.
She gonna buy out these Sherrills across the street.
That's what she gonna do.
You know what? No, because these Sherrills is a pillar up in this community. It's the one Black-owned business that's left in this part of Central District, and Central District used to be the Black neighborhood here in Seattle, and it's literally the only Black one left in this part of Central District.
Come on,
the only other one is Fats Chicken.
Wait, is it D. Sherrill, D. Charlene? What is it?
Excuse me, it's D. Charlene's. It's D. Charlene's. Yeah, D. Charlene's. But
you can buy D. Sherrill's.
Right.
Don't buy D. Charlene's.
I might buy the Central Area Chamber of Commerce right next door to it. You know, funnel people through, so we get that, you know, that cycle, you know, flowing back into our community.
But yeah, keep dreaming. That like I even like this podcast. This podcast was something in my mind for like 5 years, and it was just finally one day I was like, you know what, I better just do this shit and find some people to help me along the way. Because if not, it's just gonna be in your head. Absolutely. Ain't nobody got time to keep stuff in your head. Use your talents, people.
Speaking of talents, Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry. Halle Berry. So she pulled out of a role that she was going to be playing a transgender woman.
Did they ever announce what that role was? Because I was looking.
Was it transgender man? Yeah, transgender man.
Did they ever announce what the project was? Because I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it.
I think it was something that was like still just being worked on behind the scenes, but somehow kind of like I think she was on like some podcast or something, and she was just talking about something that was being developed that she had been working on for a while. She let the cat out the bag, and the rest is history.
I don't know. After, you know what, I think this is great, and you know what, I bet you she watched Disclosure after it came out on Netflix.
Someone tweeted her,
and if you have not seen the Disclosure, community, you need to watch it. But I'm sure it's from that seeing that film, that documentary on Netflix, because the representation is there, and there are people within the trans community that can play these roles, and it's about time that people stop taking away from the trans community. Like,
I know. I like how they tweeted Isis too, Isis King. And she's like, do you not know what a trans man is? She's like, I'm not a trans man, so why are you tweeting me? And I was like, exactly. Like, they even within the trans community, you don't want to take a role from your trans, like, male counterparts. So she was like, no, I don't want that role. She's like, do you know what a trans man is? And I'm glad she tweeted that.
Can we have Laith Ashley be the star of this role? Because Laith Ashley gets gets all
every
of me
time
right together.
Right
He
together,
had this
girl.
post like a couple days ago over the weekend. I said, in the underwear. I said, I said, yes, sir.
Yes, daddy.
Yes, daddy.
I do. I do like.
You know exactly what picture I'm talking about.
I posted it on the stories.
I do like that we're
having. What were you saying?
Okay, I do like that we're having this dialogue specifically about visibility and options for trans people. And it's, I hear that, the Karens of the world getting their gas already, poured in a can so they can light it and like, well, but they're actors and they should be able to play any role. And again, for
in
those
theory.
that are hard-headed, well, they can. The reality of it is that they can. You're an actor, you can play any role, but that's not the point.
Exactly.
The point of this is that we are in a time where we have held back visibility purposefully of our trans brothers and sisters and people that are in between. And now is the time for us to step aside instead of stepping on their backs, and for us to give up opportunities that we are afforded so that we give them the opportunity to get the same kinds of visibility, options, and acceptance that they need. So this is not about Halle Berry is incapable of playing this role. She is, but how more empowering and more true to, what we say that we believe in terms of equality, to be able to say, you know what, since we don't see as many trans people, trans actors getting the work, just like Black people that were only getting roles that were pimps and hoes and all this other kind of stuff, we can play other things too, so so we need to start opening the doors. And if that means that Halle Berry takes one less role, she will be all right. She is not struggling in the least bit. Right. But who is struggling? The trans community.
Right. But can we also talk about, though, like, if you want to talk about actors, if you can't get nominated for an award for playing your fucking self, but you can't for playing someone else, are you really that good of an actor? If you can't even be your own damn self. If you being you can't get you the awards that you need to be, and you got to pretend to be somebody else, I'm sorry. It don't make any sense.
You sound like a couple of people I used to date.
It don't make it. Honestly, it don't make no sense to me. It don't make no sense to me. Like, it's just like, like how we have, like white people playing Asian people, how we have white people playing, Black Egyptians, like you can't be Karen and you can't be the best Karen you can be. You got the skin tone and the Karen. Look naturally. No. Naturally. Like, it don't make no sense.
All it takes is a haircut.
No. I don't understand why you have to be someone else to show how good of an actor you can be.
Well, I mean, that's what acting is. I get that part of it, but it's just like, it's kind of like with Black Lives Matter. It's just like everyone keeps saying all lives matter. Yes, all lives matter, but right now Black lives have shown consistently we don't matter. So we're focusing on us right now. So I think that's what the acting kind of thing is. No, I meant
for more for an award perspective. Right. Like sometimes people take these roles for the looks of, yes, to get the awards. Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have to go outside of who you are to get a role that's not meant for someone that looks like you or that is you, like, I just feel like that means that if you were in a role that's true to who you are, as in real life, are you really then that means you can't bring yourself to camera, to film, to get those same awards. Like, I don't understand how you can, go after something that's not you to showcase your talents. You should be able to showcase your talents with who you are.
I like that the standards are changing. I like that it's no longer acceptable for us to accept what status quo used to be in terms of who gets casted and what. I love the fact that the community at large, and not just our community, thank y'all community, but the community at large is having a say-so. When these things are coming out, they're calling this shit out. Like, you can't do that. And if you, Or if you choose to do that, guess what? You're going to be inviting a whole bunch of problems that the studio is not going to want. And I think that is the power of using a unified voice to affect meaningful change that impact your specific community. And I think this is a great example of that.
We will see, because of the fact of that. I feel like it's mostly people of color that has been making this step versus the white folks who are still taking these roles in movies. Like, that's the change that I want to see. I'd rather see that first. I want to see it all, but I really want to see white people stop taking roles from everybody else.
I think I agree with you. And I think, where we see, I guess my point is, where we see progress happening, let's just call it out and celebrate it. That doesn't mean that the war is over. It doesn't mean that we have arrived on the mountaintop. It means that obviously there's still more work that needs to be done. Enjoy the journey along
the way too. Yeah.
So yes, let's celebrate the wins and say this is how you do it. Right. This is what we're talking about. When we say we want systemic changes or changes to the system, this is what it looks like. Let's keep doing that and doing more, and not like some people trying to criticize, oh, it's not enough. Yes, we know it's not enough, but we need to stop and recognize when people are getting it right, because a lot of times they get it wrong. Yeah. And if we're not showing them and providing the feedback that, yes, okay, this is a step in the right direction, like Netflix putting $100 million in black-owned banks, that to me is huge. Does that mean that that's all that there needs to be done? Hell to the no. But what they're doing is they're putting their necks out and they're saying, I'm going to show you with my dollars. I'm putting $100 million in banks that otherwise would have never seen that kind of money.
Mm-hmm. And they've also put in HBCUs as well, which
they can, and they can do that too.
Huge. Yep.
But when they do come out with something like Halle Berry or the Netflix or the next thing that'll come out or whatever, let's take the opportunity to celebrate it and hold everybody's feet to the fire to continue the momentum.
And also Halle was
because she got dragged. But
she was open to the dragging too, though. That's the thing. She wasn't like, no, and she didn't get defensive. She was like, okay, let me learn, educate me, because that wasn't the intent for me. And now that I am educated, letting that go, and I agree, absolutely. So that was good for her to step back and be like, okay, educate me, please, because not everyone does that.
It was even
a lot of people get defensive.
It was even like what Regina Hall did. I always get them mixed up.
Regina King.
I wanted to say Regina King first. And I was like, that's not right. Girl, it ain't nothing but the previews.
Because Regina Hall is, I got you on camera.
Right, you're on camera now.
That's a bag of bones. You gonna run for Lisa Flatheart?
That little 2-minute segment of that movie
everything.
It's everything. It's everything. But back to Regina King. It just harkens back to, last year when Regina King won her Oscar. Right? Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. And she said, I'm making this vow that I'm going to put 50% of my projects into women, projects with women-led strong female lead roles. And I'm going to hire 50% of my staff, at least 50% of the people that work on my projects as women, because she's investing in the community. And is that all? Is she the only one? Was she white? No, she wasn't white. No, that isn't all, but it's a step in the right direction, and it provides a model for people to follow.
Right. I agree. And speaking of the trans community too, I know right now in Chicago, there's a petition out for Boystown to be called something different, just because they don't feel like it's all inclusive within the community, which I get. And it took me a second to kind of just sit and think on it. I was like, okay, how do I feel? Because I just got the article. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Haven't even thought about it, honestly, even though I know a lot of times, a lot of the bars, just even being a Black gay isn't always the most inclusive place, but that's the gay community at large anywhere,
Facts.
And I think honestly, it's just like, if they're bringing this up, okay, let's change it. I'm not married to a name. I'm still probably going to go to that area to go to some of the bars and things like that, and if a part of the community is saying that would help them feel more seen and understood, I'm all for it. My hope though is the change with the name, that it hopefully changes some of the attitudes of the bars and things like that. I hope that changing the name is a true change and a step forward instead of like a lateral movement or something, you know. Because I know a lot of people are like, okay, what's changing the name going to do? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I think it's opening the conversation more than anything, saying here's a part of our community that is still not feeling seen and represented in this particular area of Chicago that is called Boystown. And if changing it to, I don't know, North Halsted area or, you know, whatever it may be, helps that and continues to help that conversation move forward, I'm all here for it. I just hope that, and we see it time and time again with a lot of movements, that you change a name or something, but the still old stank attitudes are still there. So nothing got changed. So,
well, you can't change I don't think you can change people's attitudes by changing the name of a neighborhood. You know,
right.
That's just, you know, that is an unrealistic expectation that anybody should have. Like,
and that's what I hope is not the only thing, what they want this petition to be, that, oh, we're going to change the name. That's going to change the attitudes. I don't know. Yeah. But if it helps to move the conversation along, I'm here for it.
Yeah, the intention of the movement is really to say, this is not just for boys. This neighborhood is supposed to be for all of us that are in this community. So if this is going to be the neighborhood, then the name should be representative and inclusive of us all. So, you know, like you have other neighborhoods that, you know, that aren't specifically related to like one segment of the LGBTQ plus, you know, community, you know, so it should be representative. Will it change attitudes of like bars and things like that? Probably not. There's still more work. But again, you know, like we were just talking about, let's celebrate the steps in the right direction. I think like you, Carell, I struggled a little bit when I first read it because I think with all of us, and I'll just speak for myself, but you know, what I went to is like, I have nostalgia with, you know, like that name. I place value, you know, like, you know, intrinsic value on that name for me. And so it's like, oh, dang, you know, it's not going to be, you know, called Boystown anymore. Right. And I just, and you know, me, I love that name. It's so cute or whatever.
I didn't even think of like Boystown as like gender related. It was just like a name. So like that was the part for me. I was just like, it wasn't.
I definitely did. I come from a family of 36. I come from a family of 36 women, and most of my family is right there on the border of Gary, Indiana. And so when I would go to Chicago, I would try to get my family to come meet me in Chicago. And literally bring in females to Boystown, specifically my cousins. I've had issues within Boystown bringing my female cousins to the bar, even if I can progress and sidetracks.
Right.
You know, like, I understand the exact importance of this, and having to go through issues with being at a gay bar in Boystown with women and other people, like, and just even just with
but is
other,
it the name
racist.
Of the town or the area that's giving the issues, or if it was named Women's Town or?
Well, no, I mean, no, it is. No, it is because it's given.
Question.
No, because it's given. And even in the article, if you read to at the end, like the person that commented is like, it was a cis white male that commented. He's like, oh, I've never had, you know, any of this experiences that the people who are, you know, creating this petition ever experienced. But I also understand that Boystown also has never, you know, been about, you know, anything other than who I am, you know, like.
But I guess my question though is more, would you have run into, is it because you were bringing females into a gay bar? I think we talked about that like in an episode a year ago. Was it more that, or is it just literally is it the egg or the chicken that came first?
No, because I'm not bringing those white girls up in there that be like, oh my God.
Right.
I'm bringing the black girls like, hey, we shaking that ass. Like, you know, we dropping it low, and you know, the white gays eat that shit up.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
but is it the name of the area that's causing the attitude, or is the attitude there regardless of the name?
No, I think it's the name that is bringing it into it, because it's a name has power.
For sure.
And so when you fit into a name, it is very easy to feel like you have power behind said name. Okay. And I think that's another reason why that white cis male racism exists within Boystown. You know, like last year when we were talking about that email that came out with Progress, because of how the word Boystown has been formed to represent the white gay male. Boystown has not been about everybody. Even though we may have experiences where we felt welcoming, there have been plenty of people who have not been welcome, and there have been bars that have made it very obvious that people like us are not welcomed. Okay,
right. But so like, I guess it's kind of almost like West Hollywood, though. Like, and just let me get this analogy out. It's just like West Hollywood is the same kind of thing as a Boys Town, honestly.
Yep, absolutely.
But I don't know if the West Hollywood name dictated that. And my thought is just like, is it just more the gay culture has literally created that more than even the name itself is.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it's definitely more the gay culture.
Described is in West Hollywood, you know.
Yeah, so I would agree it's more the gay culture, you know. But again, I think within the gay culture, it does start with a name. It does start with a name and making sure that it does say something that's for everyone. I mean, I also think about like the flag, you know, when 4 years ago when we first started talking about adding colors to the flag, and how many gay white men were up in war about, oh, it's representative for everybody.
Yeah.
But you had so many people saying that it wasn't. And here we are 4 years later, and people are now like, yeah, let's add the pink and the baby blue for trans life, and let's add the brown and the black for black, you know, for black people and people of color. Listen to people when they are telling you that they don't fucking feel representative. If someone is feeling something, there is a reason behind it. And putting our personal biases as far as, oh, well, I didn't feel that, so that means that it can't be real, that's trash. Because our experiences and someone else's experiences it's not a pissing contest. It doesn't mean that it's less real. You know what I'm saying? And I also honestly
like the notion that it forces us to check our own kind of like privilege, because it's really easy for us as, you know, as men, gay men, you know, to sit here and say, oh, well, you know, there's not this and that, because I went through that whole thing, like internally, I'm like, oh, you know, and like think of all the things that like irked me when I saw the article about this, and it was all the time like how I felt about this, and it was all about me coming out and blah blah blah, like all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, we're having a different conversation. If my nostalgia, my memories, my whatever, and I'm just speaking as Dewan, you know, are more important than, you know, the feeling of safety, comfort, and inclusion of other people, then I've got a privilege there, and I got to check that. It's not easy.
Right. Or just the simple fact that other people can experience what I got to experience. That's 100%. The thing that got me in the article. Like one point that I was like, oh my God, like, you know, Chicago means this to me. It was just more like, wow, if I have these experiences and other people don't, I think that then there's an issue. Problem. Like, because I would want everyone to feel the nostalgia or the happiness that I've experienced in Chicago. And if there are a group of people saying that they're not feeling that, then that outweighs my one perspective, you know, my one personal issue. And on top of that, like, Boystown was the first like queer community that I got to experience when I became, you know, when I was coming out. Like, there isn't one in Minneapolis, there isn't one in Gary, Indiana. Surprise.
Right.
You know, so like, so Boystown was the first one I got to experience.
Same here.
So, you know, so like when I moved out here to Seattle and I saw that there were lesbian bars in the gay community, I said, bitch, say what? I was like, this is the community. And that's when I realized, okay, there are some issues. You know, Boystown is not as progressive as I thought. Boystown is not as welcome as it is. Outside of the other personal experiences that I've had for, you know, trans women that have been there, that I've seen there, you know, women that I've seen there, people of color that I've seen there, there are some issues. If you are so hell-bent about a name, like, at the end of the day, it's not the name that brought you the experience. It's the people that you are with, the time and the place, and who you are at that time. That really is, you know, your memories. It's not the name.
Right.
It's you and those you are around.
And I honestly liken it to like this whole Confederacy thing. Like, I think the emotional ties can almost warp a little bit the meaning 100%. Behind it. And so literally 100%. When I first saw the article, because a friend sent it to me, I was like, okay. And I was like, okay, but it's Boystown. And literally it took me a split second though. I was just like, but okay, who cares? you know, literally, like, I was like, and so like we had a back and forth because he was just thinking, and I hope he's listening. Hey, I won't say your name.
Oh, damn.
But because we didn't know I was going to share this, honestly. But he was just like,
guess? I said, can we guess?
I don't have to say yes or no.
Oh, damn. See, that's no boo. Okay, fine.
I'm pulling up Dewan from the conversation earlier. But no, like, he was just like, are we splitting hairs at this point? And I was like, we could be, but if a part of our community is telling us they don't seem visible and this is going to help them, then who cares about splitting hairs at this point, you know?
I feel like at this point in time, you know, like, just like we are asking a lot of our allies, if we want to be allies to the trans community or the people who don't feel included, we've got to do the same damn thing. We can't be hypocritical here. And you know, we're going to feel a certain kind of way.
Say that again. You know, absolutely.
We're going to feel a certain kind of way, but at the end of the day, we can't, you know, stand here and be indignant and dig our heels in, you know, Black Lives Matter or, you know, like whatever, you know, gay rights now, you know, meanwhile, you know, for the last 50 years, we've been standing on the backs of our trans brothers and sisters. And that's not even to mention our asexual members and non-binary, you know, members and so many other, you know, components of our spectrum that are just not getting represented. So what is in a name? If we have to change the name, let's change the name. If we have to tear the system down to build it up so that it's equal for everybody, we need to be on that same energy.
So be it. Because we're still gonna get drunk, we're still gonna kiki nonetheless. Like so it's just like the name ain't gonna like dictate our turn up level. So that's what it is.
But I do hope that it does change the space as far as who is welcome to turn up.
I think there's going to be some
I
other
think
steps
that's the important thing that matters, is, you know, that the name is saying, hey, everyone can come here to turn up, not just boys, not those who identify as boys, but everybody and their goddamn mama can come up there and turn up, because that's what it should be about. And I think, Dewan, you nailed it on the head. We can't say Black Lives Matters and we can't be like, hey, you know, be an ally to us, but then turn around and not.
But we want Boystown name.
Right. Like that, it just don't make no sense.
It doesn't make sense at all.
It don't make no sense. So change that bitch as far as I'm concerned. As long as people show up there.
What privilege looks like.
That's all I care about.
And honestly, I hope a lot of us kind of sit with it a little bit and learn that emotional tie, because a lot of times it's so easy for us to say, oh, just turn the Confederacy thing down and this, that. But like we had a dinner for Corey's birthday last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. And we got in this conversation about Stone Mountain here in Georgia, which is the largest Confederacy symbol in the fucking world. And so that was my thing. But for one of the friends that was here, she was like, growing up in the South, they had turned it into so much almost like an amusement park and an emotional gathering, and you had your picnics there. So she had this emotional tie to just her childhood, not really to the racism of it, because she was too young to kind of really fully understand it, but she just remembers being taken there with her family and having picnics, and they have a laser show there and this and that. And so she remembers just the family time part of it. So I understand that emotional tie, because you're wrapping that emotional ability, even though you don't know what that the emotional tie is, or something that's very wrong, you know, until you get older. And so she was having a hard time saying, oh, we should tear that statue or repurpose that statue, whatever. And it's hard to do because it's on a fucking massive granite thing out of the earth. But her point was just like, I feel this tie, even though I know it's wrong and people are saying it's wrong and hurting me, I still have these good memories, which is very valid. So it's kind of like this with Boystown. It's like you came out in Boystown.
And you will continue to have those memories.
Yeah, exactly. You continue to have those memories.
But exactly.
But that's the thing.
Let me finish.
Right. But if, like, no, we were just agreeing with you.
Yeah. But I have more. That's it. Never mind.
I was just gonna say, like, you know, if people are living in the past and the good memories, you're stunning your growth. Like, if you're getting so caught up on back then and what you've been through and what you loved, even though you know it's wrong, then that means you're not allowing yourself to go in the right direction for progressiveness.
But
there are a lot of people that have benefited. There are a lot of people that have benefited from the Nazi Party. You know, but that doesn't make it right.
But what I was going to finish with that conversation, though, is that it may take some people time, and it's okay for them to express that. Like, and I told her I was happy she expressed that, because at least you see the thought process, because a lot of times we get in these conversations and it gets so heated and defensive that we're not hearing each other and the reasoning why they feel the way they do. So once she said that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. I would have never connected it to that emotional tie like that. So then this article comes along. I'm like, oh, like you said, Boystown, I came out there and this is my first thing. So I understand that energy, you know? And so that's why I hope a lot of us kind of hearing this, at least understands that energy. That way we could better communicate to others when it comes to Confederacy stuff or whatever it may be, Southern heritage stuff. Like,
I hope
okay,
everyone
I get
understands that
the
the energy is wrong. I hope
Right,
that everyone
right,
understands
right,
that the energy is wrong.
But you
and
can
although it may
understand it
take time,
nonetheless.
yeah, and I just want people to understand that just because you understand don't make it right.
No, I didn't say that was not part of nothing I said.
I
though,
did
you know?
not say you said that. Those words did not come out of these big ass.
I know, but I just want to make sure that it's not misconstrued in my statement.
Yes, absolutely. But what I was saying is, I want people to know, like, right and wrong is wrong, and I think it's a good thing to understand when you are wrong, and I think it's great when you know that you are heading in the right direction. But kind of like we said a couple of weeks ago when it came to Black Lives Matters, I'm kind of also done with that gray area. So you either going to be on the right side, you're going to be on the wrong side, you know? And me personally, just with a lot of things, I'm just done with that. Oh, it's okay that you're on the wrong side, you know, it's okay that you feel, no. Get over it. It's 2020. Like, you know it's wrong. Move on. That's just the energy that I'm on.
Yeah. I'm feeling what the both of you guys are saying. I do feel like, you know, it's okay for people to take whatever time that they need to take to process it. But if you taking the time to process impedes the progress of other things.
And let me get this. She's a liberal of all liberals.
I'm not talking about her, Carell. I'm not talking about her.
But that's where the conversation came, DeJuan.
No, I understand.
But we're not talking about
her.
Lord Jesus. Okay, I got y'all, girls.
Yeah, we're not talking about your friend. I'm saying that there are other people out there. Let me be clear. There are other people out there that I have had conversations with.
Yes.
So, you know, we are all having conversations with a lot of different people. It is not about this one person.
Right.
And what I'm saying is that we can and for me, it's okay for a person, perfectly okay for a person to take whatever time that they need to process to get how they feel. But the minute that impedes the progress of the movement, that's when I have a problem.
Absolutely.
So if you have a personal issue because you have emotional ties or whatever to something that you're struggling with, you can struggle with that. And if you want to have a conversation with that, I'm happy to have that conversation with. But this train is moving. And what Jarrell was saying, I 100% agree, because if you struggling to deal with your emotional ties impedes you from being able to jump on the train and be on the right side when we look back at history, that's going to be a problem, because there are tons of Nazi sympathizers, but they are known as Nazi sympathizers. And that's the point.
Right. Yeah. And I just wanted, because I know she probably listens to this podcast, I don't want her to be construed, because that's all I'm clarifying out of. That's all I'm doing is clarifying for her sake, because she is an ally and on our side. She was just explaining the energy and the emotion behind it, why at first it was hard for her to understand. But then she's like, hold on, I have people that are hurt that are telling me to my face, that are friends that, and like we had another friend they've been friends for like decades, and he was telling her stories as well about a lot of the symbolism. And she's like, I get it. I hear it from you. And she was on that same thing, like, screw my emotions. There are people that are hurt by this, so we need to figure out what to do with this thing. Yeah, so I just want to make sure she hears that from me on here.
Yeah,
I know
and there's a lot of people who don't know what they don't know, and as soon as they do know, that's that space that they come from.
Right.
And the point that we were just saying is, like, once you know that you're in that space,
you got to do better.
You just got to do better. Like, you know, crying about, oh, well, I felt that's actually still wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're in that space to do better. The only option at that point is to do better.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very common for many people to go through those struggles, you know, once they have they've reached that point in their life to have that type of growth, to realize, oh, I'm on the wrong side. And
that's what they did. They wrapped a lot of this shit in emotional stuff. They made it so common to be racist that it's hard for a lot of people to unweave decades of this, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's just like, and so that's what I'm getting. I was like, I get it. However, like you said, the train's moving. You better hop on and get it while you're on the train and figure some shit out.
The train is moving. Like at this time and at this day and age, the train is moving. Yeah. So you know, you take whatever time you need, the train is moving. So you know, you hop on.
Hello, good morning.
Or you get left.
Hey.
Like, we don't have time to play games anymore. This train is moving. So,
but community. Hopefully you're hanging in there. We know it's still crazy times. Continue to wash your hands, your legs, and your ass because this COVID numbers crazy right now. So please continue to do that.
I do have one thing that I want to ask you guys before we wrap up.
Okay.
We just have a couple of minutes.
Yep.
On the list, one of my favorite things that you had was, what's your song of the summer? Before we let y'all go,
right. Yeah.
I would love
What's
to have a
yours right
discussion. What's your song of the summer?
I don't really have one yet, honestly. Like, and it's so weird. Like, I feel like I'm listening less to newer music in quarantine life right now than I normally do. If I had a song that I've listened to maybe multiple times, I kind of like that Girlfriend by Charlie Puth. I like the Megan Thee Stallion and Beyonce. I'm trying to think. And a lot of people are saying that the Baby and what's his face, Rockstar might end up being it because it's been number one for like the last 4 weeks or so. So I would say probably those are the three that I've heard the most.
Okay. But what about you, Dawn?
I'm not feeling anything right now.
There's like, I'm thinking back on all the like little bops, like even Beyonce's Black Parade that dropped. Like I was like hyped for it for like a day.
Kind of fell off. Right. I know.
So
I know.
You know, like, and I think in part a lot of it has to do with Black Lives Matter. Like my energy
this
whole
now.
summer during this pandemic has been on, you know, like this emotional roller coaster that I think we've all been on of self-discovery and how do I channel all this, and you know, we're all on lockdown and blah 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 blah. Like it's hard to like be celebratory and, you know, like get all into, for me anyways, I know that a lot of people are different, but like for me it's just been hard. So like there have been songs that I've really liked, but it's just like as soon as one comes out, there's 3 people dead that I got to worry about, or you know, like now I got to get into, you know, to action mode of like using my platform and having this conversation or, you know, whatever, and it's just like I haven't really been able to get into music like that.
So true.
What are you feeling?
Okay.
She can have
I got a whole list.
Okay.
I want to hear it.
Wait, okay. I just have 2 things that I want to say. So, my go-to playlist has been the Insecure soundtrack album from this last season.
Okay.
For me, it just gives you everything that you need in Black. It gives you the upbeat, it gives you the, you know, the slow, it gives you the ratchetness, you know, it gives you that eat this pussy, it gives you everything, you know, like it ain't gonna eat itself, it ain't gonna eat itself, and you know, like it gives you everything, you know.
That did make me think of a song though. No, you said that.
So that album, that soundtrack, excuse me, has been one of those ones that you don't need to shuffle because it literally is a Black ass playlist on its own. So for me, like what you guys were saying with everything that's been Black Lives Matter going on, like that has been the playlist that's been keeping me going for everything that's happening.
Okay.
Part 2, however, is I have now ventured outside of the world of American music.
Okay.
I have now fallen into K-pop.
What's that group called?
Blackpink.
Yeah.
Bitch,
they might have a song.
Korean girls be fucking me up, bitch. They got some beats. They know how to.
They got the choreography.
They got the choreography. Them girls got that shit on point, and I am here for them. I'm here. For the past like 9 days, I've been doing nothing but on YouTube, watching their web series. I've been watching their music videos. The girls just dropped a single not even 2 weeks ago, and they just reached 900 million views on YouTube.
They're huge. Yeah,
they're huge. And these girls, I love them. them. I'm a fan. I'm a stand for them.
I'm with you on that. I like the song. I like them.
I like them. And the fact that how they go in and out of Korean and English so effortlessly, I feel so American lazy when I listen to them. Okay. It forces me to like listen to the song again because I now want to learn the Korean language, you know, of the lyrics. So because I don't just want to sing the American parts.
Right.
I want to sing the whole
I want to get this right.
Right, because I mean, it's just you can't help but to appreciate their talent because it's not easy. It's not easy at all, you know. And so I'm a huge Blackpink fan now.
Okay.
Like, them girls are everything. I'm here for them. I want to feed them, thinking them up a little bit, you know. I want them to come over here and eat some more of my food. But they're just so sweet, so real. I like them. So between the Insecure soundtrack and Blackpink, I'm getting on my life this summer.
I think I will like that. I think I will like that City Girls Pussy Talk song though. They just dropped that video. I have a feeling that might be my ratchet. That might be my ratchet song.
Yeah, that is good. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Because is that the one with
Doja?
Doja, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that might turn into mine because I do like the video, and I can see me just like. But yeah, I thought "Rain on Me" was gonna be it, but like the gays got turned down this summer, so I don't know if that's gonna end up being it or not. Like
I will say, I flipped my switch. Community, I hear it now. At first, I didn't like "Rain on Me." I will now listen to it now.
It's catchy.
Okay. It has, but I will say this. I only listen for the Ariana Grande part. The first, like, 60 seconds of the... Gaga does nothing for me on this.
Ariana's got some nice little runs in the background.
Yes, she does.
People be sleeping on.
And I did start noticing those. You know, like, even when she's, like, you know, behind Gaga, like, I'm like, okay, I see you going down a little bit. She's not up there. She's
I already sang the shit out the song.
Yeah, she was right there in the pocket. And I was like, oh, I didn't notice that before.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So, Rain on Me, I will say I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
It has been downloaded on my phone.
There we go. Ow. Anyway, community, let us know.
I trashed it 2 months ago.
You did.
That's ownership. Growth.
Community, let us know what your summer songs are right now. Obviously, we're in the midst of it, the middle of it, so we'll see what comes out. It's getting to the point where it's going to be too late to drop anything too monumental to shift it, but we'll see. And let us know. We'll put it up on Instagram and see what y'all say. Put us up on some game.
On this side,
Dewan is still saying no. I love your Facebook. I love it. She still said
it's not happening. And on this side of the 4th of July,
it's hard to drop something after the 4th. So anyway, community, hang in there. Hopefully you're staying safe. Wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. Don't get caught up in this Corona life. Don't be up in these parties like all these Fire Island gays and these black people at these
speaking
pool parties.
of,
we literally got like a minute.
I'm sorry, Dewan. You fucked up last week because last week you were like, oh, we're doing it right in New York. Yeah. And I said on the episode, not the gays. And then Fire Island
showed out on Fire Island.
They sure did.
I was like,
they showed they ass, literally.
I said, girl.
So don't get caught up in this steez. Don't get caught. This Rona don't care. This Rona does not care. So please be safe. Please be careful. We don't want any community members sick out there, dying on us, nothing like that. Please.
And shout out to the sister that said her brother can get the fuck out her parents who got chemo, who brother got cancer. She's like, oh no, you can get your shit on the sidewalk. You don't live here no more. I said, that's real.
So community, take care. And we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.